There's good in every piece of art, even if it is subjectively not an entertaining one. And the MCU is full of moments like these lately. Multiverse of Madness may have been hampered by Disney being so tight-lipped about other projects, mainly WandaVision, that they didn't even tell their creatives any details that would have directly affected their own film. But this film undoubtedly had that touch that only Sam Raimi could have given it. The Eternals was the first actually Rotten Tomatoes score for an MCU film, but it was ambitious in its universe building. And I don't think anyone could actually tell you what the plot of Thor the Dark World was, but it was nice seeing a little bit of fantasy in my superhero genre. And the scene with Thor and Loki escaping Asgard, it still holds up. Where the cracks in the MCU really start showing is on the television side. With the Disney Plus shows, I wouldn't even say any of them are actually bad. Some are obviously way better than others, no doubt about that. The best defense that I can give for the ones that are at the bottom of most people's rankings is that the MCU and Star Wars shows are made to fit a schedule so Disney Plus can have at least one tentpole project within a calendar month. It entices viewers to stick around and not cancel their subscription because why not let a massive corporation charge your card when you could see the next Star Wars spin-off show for Dexter Jetster, or maybe you could see the special presentation for Hell Cow. I would legit nerd out if both of those shows were to be real, but bad example, moving on. Which brings us to the actual worst project with any kind of connection to the MCU. The Inhumans. It was convoluted, it was unpolished, the budget was nowhere near anything given to any other Marvel projects, and it showed. Oh, and the show was about a guy trying to overthrow the monarchy to free all the slaves kept on the moon because they were all deemed unworthy by high society. Wait, no, that's actually the bad guy. The actual protagonists were trying to stop him from doing that. The X-Men we got at home bombed. However, the standout silver lining of the show was the absolute dedication to the role that Anson Mount gave to a silly network television show starring a character without any lines. They expected him to just use the same 15 hand signs and just pretend like he was doing sign language. But no, he spent months developing a new form of sign language that he put into a 50-page Google Doc that was based off American Sign Language but simplified so more fans could learn it like they do Klingon or Dothraki. If Disney decided to just let the Inhumans fade away into obscurity, no one would have batted an eye. Then, with everyone making all these wild speculations about who would show up in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, fans were pleasantly surprised when they saw Anson Mount reprise his role. Sure, he was only in a few scenes, was a part of an alternate universe, and was unceremoniously killed in possibly the funniest way possible. But still, he got a second chance with a character that he truly connected with. I think that if we can give Black Bolt even a sliver of redemption, maybe we can also do that for the titular lead character of the second worst received Marvel television show, Iron Fist. So let me explain. To catch everyone up who missed this show, or most likely forgot about it entirely, here's a quick recap. As a child, Denny Rand and his parents, who were both pharmaceutical billionaires, crashed their plane in the Himalayas. He was saved by monks who took him into the mystical city of Kunlun. He was brutally trained to become a martial arts expert until his last test to become the sworn protector of the city, he needed to beat a dragon in a fistfight and plunge his fist into its molten heart to become the immortal Iron Fist. And now he's back in New York City to track down the Hand, an evil group of ninja who are trying to do something to attack Kunlun and New York. He meets a down-on-her-luck Bushido master, Colleen Wing, and they become very close, until it turns out she's actually working for the villains. All that sounds great, and is actually the gist of what happens in the comics. Except, in the 13-episode season 1, Denny returns home and nobody believes him, and gets sent to a psychiatric hospital and is told he may suffer from PTSD after all the hell he endured since he was a child. His childhood friend Ward hires mercenaries to kill him because he believes that this is an attempt to hurt the company's stock prices or whatever. Turns out Ward's dad faked his death and has been bankrolling the Hand this entire time. And again, that's a great basis for a show, but it keeps cutting to Ward and the company drama and him being addicted to drugs. We finally get some kind of movement on the plot, and as it turns out, the Hand is also making money by selling synthetic narcotics, and again, that could have been a really poignant statement about how pharmaceutical billionaires profit with the help of drug cartels. But no. Anyways, they're doing this in order to resurrect people from the dead. Colleen also realizes that the group that took her in, supported her dojo, and helped all of disadvantaged youth by training them in martial arts were secretly evil and using the kids as soldiers. So she joins Danny on the side of good. Say what you want about literally anything else in the show, Jessica Henwick killed it in this role, and was the clear silver lining that no one who saw the show could deny. Danny and Colleen track down leads, then eventually take on several key members of the Hand. They stop the bad guys for now, but this is all to set up everything that's to come next in Netflix's big crossover for Iron Fist, Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones and the Defenders. And the first season was met with unfavorable reviews, and yeah, then again, that has nothing on how awkward the fight scenes were. There just wasn't any moment in the show that made us truly feel like this guy was supposed to be the greatest martial artist on Earth. He's not even the greatest martial artist in the show. What had happened was, Finn Jones was cast in February 2016 as Iron Fist, then they immediately entered production. There just wasn't enough time to seriously train him to get him to the point of at least pretending that he was pulling off all the stunt choreography. The season wrapped production on October 6, 2016, and by October 31st, they were immediately filming The Defenders. So, to hide the lack of preparation with the fight coordination, they just made many sharp cuts that made all the fight scenes seem jarring and uneasy to watch. Finn Jones became the lightning rod for a lot of this negativity, but it really wasn't his fault that the executives threw him to the sharks to meet deadlines. With more time to train, Finn Jones actually became sort of good at martial arts by season 2, but it was already too late. Netflix doesn't share the budgets for the television shows, but you can kind of see that this season probably got a lot less money than the first as well. They cut the episode count from 13, like with every other season of every other Marvel Netflix solo show, down to 10, and less special effects that made Iron Fist's fist glow because season 2 had Danny lose his powers. With the hand defeated in the Defenders show, things were kind of looking up, until Davos, another monk from Kunlun, demands the Iron Fist power because it was his birthright or something like that. And by episode 4, Davos takes that power and Danny is just left with his regular martial arts training. Never mind the fact that it wasn't just some power that was randomly given to him, but he earned it in a trial that only he could have beaten, but whatever. They also introduced Mary Walker, a former prisoner of war with dissociative identity disorder turned assassin. She in the comics also becomes the Kingpin's wife and is also a mutant, so that could have been a fun route to explore. Could've. Colleen beats Davos to become the new Iron Fist. Danny goes off on his own to learn Gun Fu and regains his powers, and then a month after the show was released, this series became the first of the Marvel Netflix shows to get cancelled. And again, if that was the end of Iron Fist, so be it. It was just an okay show when compared to how fantastic Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and The Punisher were. There were just so many missed opportunities with the Iron Fist show. And in my opinion, I think the biggest one is that it lacked its own identity. Daredevil was a gritty action show about what the superhero life does to somebody. Jessica Jones was a detective show about surviving abuse. Luke Cage was a neo-western that addressed race in America. And The Punisher was an action thriller about how veterans are treated in America. These shows had something to say, and it did it in a unique way. Iron Fist just didn't. It was just a stopgap to make the crossover make sense. Yet, there was one episode that solidified why Finn Jones as Danny Rand Iron Fist works. And it was actually in Luke Cage Season 2. Just after the Defenders crossover and a few months before Iron Fist Season 2, Danny and Luke team up to do some vigilante work and to try to stop Luke's Season 2 villain, Bushmaster. And it worked perfectly. The two have a long history together in the comics and form the Heroes for Hire, which is a fun way to explain how the street-level heroes actually pay their bills doing superhero work. Danny was very standoffish in Season 1 of Iron Fist, and was very unlikable in Season 2 because he was just so angry because of the dragon inside of him or whatever. But in Luke Cage Season 2, he was cocky as all hell, super confident in what he could do, and he was just being best bros with Luke the entire time. Bushmaster was getting in Luke's head all season, and Danny sees his friend lose his cool, so he teaches him some meditation techniques to try to figure out how to beat the bad guy. Then they do what any superhero bros would do, beat up some bad guys, burn down their stronghold, and go grab some food afterwards. He was a little bit goofy, but that's the point. This is the Danny Rand that fans knew from the comics. He's not brooding, he's smack-talking henchmen while he punches them across the room. As much as I think that Iron Fist could at least get a second chance cameo in Daredevil Born Again, there's already an amazing martial artist in the MCU who does know his own stunts, and doesn't have the baggage of white guy goes to a foreign place and becomes their savior. 2021's release of Shang-Chi was everything the Iron Fist show couldn't be. It had a budget, it was allowed to be creatively different, it had good martial arts, and it was hands down the best first installment of anything after Endgame. All I'm saying is, if for some reason there's a giant martial arts tournament in Shang-Chi 2, maybe two of the combatants could be Danny and Colleen. But what do you guys think? Would you like to see Iron Fist get redeemed with at least a better creative team? Or should he just stay forgotten? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button and subscribe for more weekly content on comic books and nerd stuff. I've been Eric, and you've been awesome.